All right. Sorry to keep you guys all waiting. I was voting. No, I voted at 7 a.m. this morning.
Got in line?
Yeah, the lines were packed.
Really?
Yeah. Send a note to my kids. Make sure you get out and vote and take advantage of that. Are you ready, or do we need to wait for you now, too?
For me. There's one that works.
Not when I do this.
No, I'm going to smash it.
All right, a couple things to talk about today. I'll start with Michigan Tech. The team that we saw in Michigan Tech was what we were very much expecting. I thought they were a good team. It was a good win for our team on Friday night. I liked a lot in our game, especially the poise that we showed in coming back and getting a win in overtime after losing a number of overtime games to that same team was good. The Saturday night game, obviously, we were disappointed in the result. There were some dynamics in that game that we just weren't able to overcome and kind of flip the momentum. And I view those as learning opportunities for us, and I remain very encouraged about our team. I saw lots during the full weekend to see our team keep growing. We did run into the injury bug a little bit. That certainly hurt us, as most of you know. We dressed one less forward so we could have one more defenseman. And while that probably was a positive on Friday, on Saturday it kind of bit us when Appleton went out after like his second or third shift in the game and was gone for the game. So we played pretty much that whole game with three lines, and at the tempo and physicality of that game, that was difficult to do. And yet I liked how hard our guys approached doing that. So we gained lots of experience from that. I was disappointed the score got away from us. But there were parts of that game that I continued to see us grow, and I think that's positive. This week, obviously a short week, and we still have some guys banged up. I don't know the status of whether Appleton will play this week or whether Rosberg will play this week. We're kind of taking it one day at a time to see. I think that we're going to play a Ferris State team that always plays Michigan State really tough back when I played. It was one of the go-to games on the schedule, and so we know they'll be ready to play and eager to play. So for us, it's a fun weekend. We're welcoming back the 1966 National Championship team. And I think there were 25, I think the number is 25. If you look down the hallway, the number of players and managers or affiliated people in that team photo, I think there was about 25, wasn't there? And we have 20 people coming back. Now, obviously, Amo has passed away, but his son, John, will be here, which is really cool. Our team is going to wear greens, and we're going to wear this uniform in honor of that team on Thursday night, the 66 team. Yeah. And so this is what they wore that year. And so that's pretty cool. I know our guys will be pumped up about that. We're going to recognize those guys who are coming back at the game on Thursday night. That will be kind of the start of a full weekend of activities for the 20 guys that are coming back. So we'll recognize them at the game. They're actually going to have a meal with our team during our training table on Friday night, and then they're going to be recognized at the football game. So 50 years ago, they won the national championship. I want to say it was a 2-1 game against North Dakota, if I remember right. Wasn't that?
No.
No, what was it?
Clarkson.
Clarkson?
It was 5-1.
4-1 or 5-1?
Oh, then I'm thinking of the wrong game.
It might have been the semifinals.
Maybe that's what it was. But that's really neat that that group's coming back, and I got a note here that November 22nd, that's the 100th anniversary of the birth of Amo Bissoni, so that's coming up. So I know all these guys are really looking forward to coming. I'll have all my facts straight by that time as to who won against whom, but we're anxious to get them back on campus. So.
You know what else happened on November 22nd?
Let's see.
What else?
I know there's something there, something historical, other than Amo being born. What else you got?
Tom, when you look back at Ferris, what do they do specifically that makes them so successful against you guys, at least from a competitive standpoint?
Well, their mindset is dating back to when I played here. They had a real mindset that this was a rivalry game for them, and it was, the big school, small school thing. And even their, I think both coaches, two of their coaches, or their three, are Spartans. And so, they've always approached this game back in the old CCHA days, as a big series. And they play hard. So they play hard. They, in recent times, in the Bob Daniels era in particular, I think they've really built an identity of who they are, and they play to that, and they've been very successful at it. And, they're a very well-coached team. Back in the days when I was playing against them, they weren't as disciplined as they are now. Like, they're disciplined. They play with good tempo and pace, and they usually have really strong goaltending and play around the goaltender. So I'm just getting to study their team a little bit, but that's more of what we expect. I know their team is not off to the start that they expected, so they're trying to find confidence, and I'm sure they're going into this series looking at it as what better way to try to build some confidence and momentum heading into more of their WCHA schedules to play a Big Ten school like Michigan State. So it'll be a real tough test for us, as every series is for us, as we're growing as a young team. And again, coming out of this Michigan Tech series, I thought Michigan Tech had a mature team. They had a lot of returning veteran players. I thought they played hard. Yeah, their defense was really solid. And, again, we didn't have a good enough body of work, obviously, on Saturday, but we played a lot of good hockey during the course of, those 6+ periods on the weekend. And that's something that, we're going to continue to build on. So I like how our team's growing. I would like to see us stay injury-free a little bit. I'd rather get some bumps and bruises rather than lose games to some of the injuries we have. But we have a lot of respect for Ferris, and we know that they'll play hard. And going to their place on Saturday, that's a hard place to play.
Speaking of their place, do you know how to pronounce their name of their arena?
I don't. Can I have that water? How do you pronounce it?
Alba.
Next question.
Even though it sounds like it's Eagle Wiggle Biggin?
Yeah, I do not know how to pronounce that.
I rarely see you discouraged anyway, but you seem, the record isn't great, but you seem encouraged about the way the young players in the core of this team is progressing, don't you?
I really am. And watching our team every day in practice, we're making progress every day, and I'm seeing the confidence level of guys rise. Obviously, having a growing amount of success will help feed that as well. But I'm seeing it in the structure of our game. I'm seeing it in individual performances. Fighting through some of these key injuries. We haven't had a ton of injuries, but we've had enough key ones that have taken some experience out of our lineup and some depth. And as you're trying to gain experience and gain depth, that kind of hurts you in the process. But, yeah, there's lots to like. I think we're playing way faster than we have played here in some time. I think our skill level is higher, and I expected that coming into the season. And I think we're kind of settling into understanding what the expectations are a bit. So there's still lots of up and down hockey to go as we gain experience, but I'm very encouraged by it. It's fun coming to the rink every day.
Coach, looking at Appleton's line, obviously you have guys like Appleton, Kodorenko, but a guy that's a bit overshadowed a little bit, Taro Hirose. How has he kind of grown in your eyes? And if Appleton can't go this weekend, how do you think he's going to kind of elevate his game to kind of fill that void of Appleton?
Well, I don't think he's going to fly under the radar too long. If he is, his game is pretty noticeable when you're watching different situations. He's a smart player. He's good with the puck. He makes players around him better. That's why we're interested in bringing him here. And he's kind of a quiet kid, so he doesn't draw a lot of attention to himself. But he's been very consistent so far even as a freshman player. So I expect as he gains experience and he gains confidence playing at this level, he's going to be a very impactful college hockey player.
And also looking at Kodorenko from that line, how has he kind of grown? And do you think he will kind of elevate his game with Appleton kind of being out, the extra opportunities?
He's already elevated his game from week 1 till now. In both those cases, those guys have really grown a lot, and I see their confidence growing. In Patrick's case, he's one of the youngest kids in all of college hockey, and I think between now and the end of the season, you're going to see huge growth in his game. He's a strong kid. He's he's really into playing the game. He's a quick study. He's very coachable. He's highly skilled. Yesterday's practice, he made some plays that got us all kind of smiling because I've seen him play at the youth levels, and coming here, he wasn't coming here with the greatest level of confidence, and we just think it's a matter of time till he gets his confidence to where ultimately will be, and we think he'll much like I mentioned of Taro, and same thing with Mason. They make players around them better. They're able to distribute the puck. He carries it along, or a hard shot. I'd like to see him shoot it more. He's a powerful skater. I'd like to have him continue to use that and work on his explosiveness. But he's going to be a very impactful player here at Michigan State and in college hockey.
Tom, with as important as Appleton is to the dynamic of your team, he'll want to play. If he wants to play and he gets doctor's clearance, would you ever overrule player and doctor in that case, especially with a bye week, to say maybe it's better we hold him out because we really need him? Or don't you, if they say he can play, he plays?
Yeah, I would say anything's on the table to consider because I am a long-term thinker as opposed to a short-term thinker. And in our game, you're always at risk of injury. Even if you're healthy, you're always at risk of injury. So, yeah, we have a bye week. It's something that, if we come to that point, we can look and try to make that decision. There's all kinds of decisions you can make. You can keep somebody out to try to buy that time to look to, the long term. If you're playing, it's the end of your season or whatever, that's an easy decision. If everything's cleared to go, you just play. But I wouldn't dismiss any of those considerations. I know as a player myself, I wanted to play. And even if maybe it was on a limited basis, maybe I could just play on the power play or kill penalties or whatever it might be. So he's an important player to our team, and we'll take all that into consideration as we go. We're not far enough along in the process. We just know that, we've been talking about it since after the game Saturday night. So we're just watching it every day, and we know we have one less day this week for the first game. So we'll make a decision probably Thursday.
Again, more directly, I'm not asking what to do in this case. Would you ever overrule a player and doctor to save a player?
Sure. If in my opinion it was in the best long-term interest of our team's success, then yes, I would. The doctor's job and the player's job is to get healthy, and the doctor's job is to, let me know when he's healthy enough to play. And so they can do their job. I have to determine the lineup. And I would consider that.
Tom, looking at the timeshare between John and Minnie, and I know the stats don't tell the whole story, but are you content right now with their timeshare? Would you rather one kind of be
Did you
more of
clear
that?
this question with him? Because that's usually, that's like you can scratch that off your list now, huh?
I want to make sure I got that.
No, we came into the we came into the early part of the season looking at it and saying we want to get both of these guys some playing experience. I think we've done that to this point. We're going to use today, tomorrow, and we'll determine something for Thursday. As I sit here today, I'd be lying if I didn't say, in the back of my mind, I'm looking at Ed Minnie starting the game on Thursday. Probably a week ago, that's where I was anyway. The question would be, okay, coming out of that game, what do I think I'll do on Saturday? Well, I don't know that yet, but I think Ed's put some games together, and if I'm just focusing on him, I want to see his confidence continue to grow, which he has. And we want to see results turn into wins, which that's been positive. And then, the next step for him will be to, create that level of consistency, to win on the road, and do that with a level of consistency. So I like the way he's progressing.
So you're not coming into a weekend saying, I'm going to split these guys. You take a look at the first
No.
game and then make your decision.
Yeah.
Okay.
We have a follow-up goalie question over here.
The goalie question. Coach, I noticed you were at the women's basketball game on Sunday. Was there no yoga on the schedule then? No yoga?
Pardon me?
Was there no yoga?
No
on the
yoga
schedule?
on the schedule. Actually, my wife was trying to get me to go, and I told her I had too much work to do, so I went to the basketball game with her. Yeah.
And if Appleton and Rosberg both can't be out, how would that kind of affect your lineups? Would you still go as maybe 7 defensemen, or would you kind of maybe dress an extra forward again?
Those will be considerations that we'll have to start wrestling around with probably tomorrow after practice once we know. I wouldn't dismiss any option. I'm not sure as we sit today, depending on those dynamics. Because again, when you put those guys in the lineup with an injury, you just never know. Like obviously, we weren't expecting somebody at forward to get hurt on Saturday night, dressing one less forward. Those are just the cards you're dealt, and you deal with them. So I don't know. We'll see as we go, because the other part of the consideration is special teams, and we have to kind of assess, what parts can kind of slide in, especially if those two guys out. They're both part of special teams, and that's one of the reasons with Rosberg out last week, we slid Scarcella in, got him some confidence, and he also played one of the 2 power play spots, and that was pretty helpful. He did a nice job on that. So that gives him a little bit of access to the lineup that may be very needed.
And so correct me if I'm wrong, but when Appleton went down, did you slide in Lambden there on the Kodorenko line?
We eventually did.
Okay.
We eventually, I pretty much took Connor Wood out of the rotation and kind of reduced down to 3 lines. And so I moved Haig up with Ebbing and Cox. I moved Lambden on the right wing with Kodorenko and Taro. And then I had Sanford with Saliba and who do I have in there? Miles. Milan on the right wing, yeah.
When's the last time you played 3 freshmen on the same line?
Oh, man. I don't know that I have played 3 freshmen on the same line. Heck, we had 6 freshmen on the ice at the same time. Several times, I think. And when I was a freshman here, I played with 2 other freshmen. We were a freshman line, so I'm familiar with it being done. And if those guys can play hockey, get out there and get after it. Anything else? Okay.